Hey everyone, welcome to a 5 minutes with. This week we're doing, or in this video, we're doing 5 minutes with the concept of time. And so if you're part of our church, this goes specifically with the sermon that we just preached on November 3rd. If you come across this video at some later point or some future date, this video specifically goes with the sermon from November 3rd of 2024. And so I would definitely recommend watching that as well, since it builds off one of the points. But one of the points that we looked at in the sermon, it was a sub point, really not a main point, but when the topic of blame comes along, we tend to blame even inanimate things without life, without faculty, without their own power. One of them, I think the most common one, being time. We frequently blame time for why we don't do something. And I think we have to be honest that we control time. Time doesn't control us. The clock on your phone is incapable of making you do anything. We are the ones who then choose to blame it. And so if biblically we should not blame time, and the phrase we use to blame time is I can't find the time. See, it's time's fault. Time is hiding from me. Time is running away from me. Time is eluding me. That's just not a biblical concept. Nowhere in Scripture do you see the idea of, hey, try and find time for this. So what does the Bible actually say about time? I want to take these 5 minutes or so to look at what is a biblical perspective on time and how I, as a believer, should relate to the concept of time. And so we're going to rattle off a bunch of references. I'm not going to read all of them. I am in Psalm 90. I'm going to read one specific verse from Psalm 90. But if you want these references, look in the description of the video. We'll have them all listed there so that even if you don't catch them or jot them as you're watching this live, you can still have that list of references. So how biblically should Christians think about time and approach time? Well, first, Psalm 31:15 makes it pretty clear we need to recognize time is not our own. Time is given to us by God, allotted to us by God. Colossians 4:5, we should maximize our time for kingdom impact. You look at Ephesians 5:15-16, even 15-17, and we should wisely steward time. Some translations will say make the best use of our time. Some translations will say redeem the time we have been given. But the idea is the same. So time is not our own. It's been allotted to us by God. We're to maximize it. What does that look like? It looks like wise stewardship of it and using it appropriately. Psalm 89:47 and James 4:4, as well as numerous other verses, also make it pretty clear that when we consider time and how we relate to it, one of the key components is wrapping our minds around the reality that our time is very short and our time is very limited. And so not using this idea of, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll put it off to tomorrow, I can afford it tomorrow, because who knows how much time we have left, but we do know it's not a lot. There's a quote, and I don't remember what pastor said it, but he said, we complain about people having too short of a life, but in the view of eternity, who has a long one? And so even if you live to be 95, 102, one of these people setting records, that's still the blink of an eye in the scope of all existence and reality. And then the verse I want to go to from Psalm 90, this is Psalm 90, verse 12. Teach us to number our days that we may get a heart of wisdom. We're called to count and measure time, to measure it out and to be carefully diligent in our measuring of time. It's directly related to that we may get a heart of wisdom. So if you want to be someone with a wise approach to time, recognize it's not your own. Recognize it's short. Recognize that you've been called to steward it. You haven't been called to waste your time. You haven't been called to neglect your time or be negligent or selfish or egotistical with your time. You've been called to steward your time for the glory of God and His kingdom. And so I really want to challenge the church. I want to push the church, specifically CBC and the people of this family. And if you happen to watch it and you're not part of our family, great, I challenge you as well. Stop talking about finding time. No one in the history of humanity has ever found an extra hour just by going to look for it. Instead, recognize that, hey, I've been given a specific amount of time. I don't know how long it's going to be, so I'm going to number my days and be wise in my stewardship of time as I choose how to spend my time, as I choose how to allocate my time, prioritize my time, and maximize my time, not wasting my time by trying to find more time. I hope we can have a biblical approach to this so that we can really orient our time around God and the things of His kingdom. Hope this challenges you, encourages you, and we'll see you later.